Okay guys, so now I'm about to show you how you can test your LED lights. I told you on the newer controllers, this is the row where you're gonna get your power from, and all you have to do is, if you look at your controller here, plug into a laptop your USB, that cable that came with the controller, that came with your system, or however you, whatever USB you have that you charge your controllers with, and once you get power, it'll start lighting up like that. So that means you have power. And on LED light, on one of these LED lamps, excuse me, let me pull out. The longer leg is the positive, the shorter leg is the negative. So all you want to do is get in there and test that theory to see if it's correct. And as long as you've got power, you should be in good shape. So I'm gonna go in here now and test that out, and you see how it's lighting up. That means I got power, and so that means I'm correct. So the bottom's negative, the second one's positive, just like I told you, and I've got a good connection. This area right here is strictly for a center LED light or a power source. Remember, negative first, then positive. This is the area where you will hook into if you want to do a simple PS button mod. I'm not doing a simple PS button mod. I just wanted to show you that, and you can also test your lights here. Negative at the bottom, positive right above it. Next thing we've got here, I got my, let me widen out some. I've got my Kynar wire that I'm gonna need, and I'm using 30 gauge. I'm gonna cut me a couple pieces off of there here in a second. I've got my soldering iron, and she is hot. And I think that's all I need to get started on this. I'm gonna do some funky stuff with this controller. I need to find some solder. All you folks that ain't used to soldering, the easy way to do it is get your little solder and then just put on the tip. That way, once you get the solder on the tip, you can rub it on the wire and get the wire soldered up, and you can go in, and I'll show you. You go in and you can just do a quick solder. And that one's done. We're gonna do another one here. And it's like, if you get a decent soldering gun, it's not rocket science. You can do this, but you just have to take your time. Alright, cool. So we've got power, but we've got wires on this side. So I'm going to do this other side, and we'll be in good shape. We're connected on both sides. Now it's time to hit the LED lights up. What I generally do with these LEDs is I spread the legs just a little bit like this, and I flip them up so that I can see what I got. And I just like to make sure I know which is my positive, which is my negative. Then I take my clipping tool and I clip them down, and I always clip them down the same way that I got them, that I gotta have them in order to make my, so I know which is which, if that makes sense to you. So I always clip them and have the one leg longer, the other leg shorter, so everything looks correct. And I don't want you guys to burn yourselves. Have something to hold these lights with, tweezers or something, some plastic tweezers. That way you don't get burnt while you're trying to put them in, because that light does get real hot while you making that love connection. Next thing is next. We're gonna put this wire together with this one. Make sure I have a good solid connection. That's the important thing. And it is. You ain't got a good connection, you ain't got nothing. Now I'm gonna do the other side. Since I showed you this side, then I'll be ready to start hooking it up, so stand by. While I got you guys here, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. I've got my Dremel tool out again, but I got some sandpaper on it, and what I like to do is frost my LEDs, and what that means is I'll take that LED and just go over it real lightly, just to frost it around, to make sure that it doesn't like shoot one way. It kind of diffuses it, and it just makes it look better to me. If you look here, this in there, I've got both LED lights in, one on this side, one on this side, and they're wired in to both rumble motors, one on this side and one on this side. So I've got everything wired up right now, and I'm almost ready to put everything back together. Getting close. I've done a few quick test fits just to make sure everything will at least fit, and it looks like I will be a success in that. But here's the board together, and that's it with my LEDs, and they're both in there. You can't see them shining right now, but there's where's that? There's an LED right here, and there's one right here, and I got them locked in, and everything's fitting well. All my wiring looks to be fitting well. We're gonna get ready to put this thing back together and go do some tests, but that's pretty much all there is to it. We're gonna put all this back together, and once I get it together, I'll show you a few changes that I'm gonna be making.